Thank you all sincerely for being here tonight. The only way we are going to address and conquer this crisis is to do it together, with knowledge, education, compassion, and thoughtful strategy, and by refusing to make some of the same ongoing past mistakes that have led us here. It's time to change. It's time to move forward. It's time to work together, and the time is now. Our history with opium and drug issues extends well over 100 years. It started with a wide array of people using opium back in the late 1800s. The increased use and popularity of opium back then resulted in string legislative measures. They were designed to crack down on the addictive habit, control distribution, and acknowledge the danger of its use. Even back in the 1930s, there was a recognition that research needed to be done to better understand drug addiction. States were then given more direction and authority to prosecute cases consistently and work cooperatively with federal agencies. In October 1970, President Nixon signed the Controlled Substances Act. It consolidated over 50 drug laws that had followed the Harrison Act. It was designed to control the legitimate drug industry as well as curtail the illegal actions. And as some of you might recall, in 1970, drugs were labeled Public Enemy #1. A title arguably that still remains today. A call for the prevention of new addicts and the rehabilitation of those who are addicted was implemented 40 years ago. Sound familiar now? And the war on drugs, it was directed toward eradication, interdiction, and incarceration, getting tougher on crime, so to speak. Minimum sentences were imposed and higher penalties. And how did over 50 years of foundational legislation and effort work out? Here we are. We know we want to not repeat the past. It's not just about laws and enforcement, it's about people. We can turn the 100-year tide. We know supply will not cease without a decrease in demand. We can work toward addressing both at the same time and with the same vitality. We cannot just be tough on crime. We have to be smart on crime. That takes collaboration and understanding, and that takes all of us. Drugs care not who you are, what you do, under what circumstances you first use them, or where you are from. It does not care if you are white, black, Hispanic, tall, short, rich, poor, female, male, grandparent, high school star athlete, business owner, politician, honor student, newborn baby. Addiction is non-discriminatory. It leads a person and a family down a path and straight to hell. The court system and the criminal justice system, the community, it sees it every day. As in the opium dens from the late 1800s, we still see people from every neighborhood. Court can be quite different now. In years past, parents and others would beg us to let their loved ones out of jail. Today, they sometimes beg us to keep them in, for at least then they know where they're at and that they're alive. So here today, we understand, we accept, and we commit to change the path of this crisis. J. Irwin Miller said, "It is ridiculous ever to forget that you and your business each are implanted in the society of the moment. This is our moment. We cannot ignore the world of our time, and we had better understand it," he said. We know we understand it now. We can work together to address it. So how are we going to do it? Not by building bigger jails and prisons. Been there, done that. Doesn't work. Why do you think the law recently changed to no longer allow many low-level drug users to be sentenced to prison and instead are required to stay in the local jails or be put on probation? It's about local people and treatment to resolve the problem, not extended incarceration to hold them, then release them, then wait for it to happen again. It's time to reflect on the data and implement evidence-based research, the programs and processes that have been shown and are proven to increase the probability of a person recovering, a family healing, a reduction in recidivism, and thus a different outcome than the last 100 years. This cannot be done in silos. It will take the dedication and the commitment of everyone, and I am not too proud to state that the intervention team requires your assistance, please. So what is the intervention team looking at? What are some of the proven methods? One is problem-solving courts. In Indiana, problem-solving courts have to be improved and overseen by the Office of Court Services, which is overseen by the Indiana Supreme Court. So what makes these specialty courts effective? Evidence-based screening and assessment tools are used to identify appropriate individuals to be accepted into the court. Those accepted usually include people who are higher risk and higher need. Under a judicially supervised court docket, there is a proper balance struck between, first, the need to treat a person suffering from a substance use disorder and the need to protect community safety. Second, a need for effective treatment through a less adversarial process, and the need to hold people accountable for their actions. And third, the need to balance between hope and redemption on the one hand and the productive citizenship on the other. Judges also take a more hands-on approach with increased court appearances to promptly address problems and encourage a change in a person's behavior. The focus is centered on addressing and resolving underlying problems or trauma, not just substance issues. And finally, evidence-based research also supports the use of medicine assistance, if appropriate, as part of treatment and in addition to counseling and support services. In the past couple of years, we have seen an increase in substantiated child neglect cases due to parental addiction to substances. That did not set well with many of us, but particularly with Magistrate Heather Mallow, who presides over the juvenile cases in circuit court. So she and consultant Pam Clark engaged other members of the juvenile court team and worked for over a year to implement a family recovery court. As of this month, that court is now accepted by the state and certified. In fact, Judge Mallow let me know that the first family has been accepted into this program 2 days ago. Parents who complete She's done a great job. Fabulous person. Parents who complete this intense program will be significantly more likely to be reunited with their children, more likely to succeed at recovery, and their children have a better chance of spending much less time in out-of-home placement. The court will need your support to continue. We are now considering a problem-solving drug court for adult criminals. Low-level drug-related cases doubled between 2014 and 16, but unlike treatment through juvenile court that can be contracted, no contracted treatment options are available to adult court. Treatment must come from this community. Insurance and cost matters, and they are hurdles. In order to learn how these courts are run and the type of community options that may be available, myself along with Brad Barnes, Chip James, and Stacy Harry from Court Services, Prosecutor Bill Nash, Attorney Mike DeArmit, Chief of Police John Rohde, City Council Member Lori Boer, County Commissioner Carl Lenup, County Councilwoman Laura DeDominic, Mayor Jim Lenup, Charlie Wells, Debbie Tyke, Anna Hillicord from Centerstone, and Rhonda Fisher and Cheryl Buffalo from ASAP have traveled to different recommended courts. Policies and procedures are currently being drafted, and if we can work together in this county to provide appropriate evidence-based and readily accessible treatment, recovery, and support services, the hope is to start an adult criminal drug court in 2019. We're going to need your help. Why do it? For starters, 75% of drug court graduates nationwide remain arrest-free for after 2 years from leaving the program. We know we can take some of the highest need and the highest risk persons we see in court, and we can make a difference in their lives. Drug court works to reunite families, repair lives, reduce drug abuse and crime, and do it all for fewer tax dollars than jails or prison. That evidence has been accumulating and consistent since the 1990s. Next, many of you have heard of the WRAP program offered through Court Services, Women Recovering with a Purpose. It's a year-long probationary program in which women are in a locked residential unit for treatment and recovery, and then slowly reintegrated into the community. It's intense, and it's not easy to complete. We only have enough resources to allow 15 women to participate at any given time. We have women asking us to be in the program, even knowing it's guaranteed they will see very little of their family for a year. They do it to work towards saving their life and living free from those substances. That takes courage and commitment. Most treatment and counseling programs strive to get near a 50% completion rate. WRAP is at 55. In addition, the average reduction in risk to reoffend after completing that program is between 30 and 35%. That's significant. I attended a WRAP graduation last week, a remarkable class with some remarkable women. Yes, that comment coming from a judge who may have had a hand in sending some of them to jail to begin with. We want to see success. We want to see people live. The point being, recovery works when someone wants to change, but also needs the help, the push, and the support. They need you. Rob Gaskell, the director of the RAP program, is currently working toward implementing a Winner's Circle program, which can offer those who have graduated from RAP and successfully completed probation an opportunity to be trained on how to become a mentor to others. This is another evidence-based program to further assist in additional treatment, and he hopes to start that within a year. In addition, we are also working toward implementation of a men's program similar to that of RAP. We were hoping to implement this program by this summer. 2 grants were applied for. One was awarded, and we just found out this week one was not. The one we were awarded is contingent upon the remaining funding, so we will continue to try and seek that funding. We have a significant and a desperate need for this men's program. Sheriff Matt Myers is working in collaboration with ASAP and partners in this community in considering an evidence-based jail treatment program, and that would be geared toward those serving longer sentences and focused on successful reentry within this community. Such desire, however, has been limited due to overcrowding, classification issues, and resources. Cummins Black Belt Elizabeth Powers is the project leader helping to research and assess programs, and along with Major Chris Lane, they are currently making site visits to other jail treatment programs known to be effective. We expect those visits to be done within the next couple months. The results will be analyzed and jail treatment options will be discussed. However, prior to any reality of implementing a jail treatment program, the very real issue of jail overcrowding has to be resolved. This is a priority, and the sheriff is working to address that. The courts started a pretrial jail release program back in October of 2016, geared toward releasing low-risk offenders. However, there has been such an increase in arrests that the jail population has continued to escalate even after those releases. However, with the pretrial program pilot, there would be probably an additional 40 people in the jail today. Finally, one pretrial program Chief of Police John Rohde is helping me look at right now is LEAD, Law Enforcement Assisted Diversion. It aims to break a common cycle, one in which a person is arrested and jailed for non-violent crimes often related to addiction. Under LEAD, the person can be diverted into a social service worker who helps arrange drug treatment, housing, and other services within the community. In order to do that, I have to look over to my friends there, and I have to look out at you. We need you to be able to do that. We need the community. The preliminary data on this program has indicated positive effects on recidivism, so we're taking a look at it within this next year. One thing I want to stress, as much as we've seen an increase in numbers for substance use disorder, we do see recovery, and we see those working toward recovery. The RAP graduation last week was one filled with pride, love, and thankfulness for and from the ladies themselves, as well as their family members and community members who were there. That type of hope and reality we cannot lose. As Martin Luther King Jr. said, if you lose hope, somehow you lose that vitality that keeps life moving. You lose that courage to be, that quality that helps you go on in spite of it all. So today I have a dream. How many times I'm sure that quote has been recited, but how appropriate for here and for now. Many say this problem is too big, that you'll never make a dent. And I believe I've heard it responded to in this way before, and I believe it was Jeff who may have said this maybe a little bit over a year ago, but it's like the devil whispering in your ear, Columbus, you're not strong enough to withstand this storm. Well, we've got some whispering back. Columbus is the storm. We know we can. Thank you.